What is the Metropolitan Global? The Metropolitan Global was founded on a simple premise that we, as human beings, need to come together to save the world. This leads to the presumption that if we all came together, or at least most of us, in the name of the common good, then we could solve our problems. Things would get better. This is what the United Nations was supposed to be, but for some reason it's failing. Or, if not exactly failing, let's just say it's not achieving the results we all hoped for. Regardless of who's to blame, we, as adults, cannot make excuses for these circumstances. Results matter, and we're responsible to get results for our kids. We need a new United Nations, a functioning one that can secure a just and lasting peace between ourselves and all nations. Does anyone have any ideas on how we could do this? The UN was based off the work of Immanuel Kant, so let's start there. Kant believed the ideal society followed universal values that we all share. His biggest maxim, or moral rule, was to treat every person you meet not just as a means to an end, but as an end in itself. This is where we get the idea of intrinsic human rights. In this ideal society, rational, well-intentioned people would come together to find common ground. We think this could be achieved by following Kant's two theoretical imperatives. He called them the categorical and the hypothetical. The categorical imperative is the golden rule. It's the perspective that says, do the right thing first and always, no matter what. Kant expressed it as acting in such a way that if everyone else did it, nothing bad would happen. That was pretty much the gist. The hypothetical imperative is the flexible one. It is the universal law of prudence. It says that if you want a certain outcome, you must take prerequisite steps to achieve it. It defines success as when preparation meets opportunity. Let's apply these principles to a real-world example. Let's say you were getting overweight and wanted to lose some pounds. The hypothetical imperative tells you to exercise, diet, fast, and get good rest. If you do these things, you'll achieve your goal. The categorical tells you after you're done getting your body into an amazing shape, that you don't make fun of a newbie struggling at the gym to make yourself feel good. The categorical would tell you to go help them because you remember what it was like being new and sucking at everything, and you wished someone had come helped you. To create our new United Nations, we need to be able to implement the hypothetical imperative as a collective while still adhering to the golden rule. And you might ask, why is the categorical imperative so important? Why do we need this principle to get things done? The answer is simple. Without doing the right thing first and foremost, so things are fair for everyone, we have no collective, because we'll have no trust, and therefore, we will not be able to solve a single problem the world throws at us. The prehistoric tribes that looked out for one another are the ones that survived. The rest perished. We need to look out for one another. Okay, sounds great, you say, but how do you plan on actually achieving this? Let's think logically about how to make this happen. At the bare minimum, we'll need a place to gather, a system of cooperation, rules we can all agree to. This is the bare minimum, but at least it gives us something to work with. Let's start with the place to gather. What's the reason we're doing all this again? We're doing what we're doing for our kids, to save their future, so a family-friendly theme might help with our mission. Most kids want to be a superhero. The best place to gather would be somewhere that reminds them of that, while keeping the adults focused on what we're here to do. We're here to save the world. Just like a Superman, we're going to need a media company. Obviously, we can't call it the Daily Planet. That's taken. We'll call it something else. But it's standard superhero procedure to hang around an information hub, working as a reporter or photographer, so you can get the scoop before anyone else does, then sweep in and save the day. Then we report on what we did, pretending it was someone else, trying not to laugh because apparently a pair of glasses is fooling everybody. And while we can imitate the integrity of these icons of society, unfortunately we cannot imitate their superpowers because superpowers aren't real. But we think we found a way around that. So how do we become superheroes without superpowers? There are two moody billionaires that come to mind. Both Batman and Iron Man were normal humans like us, but they were very smart and very rich. and being very smart and very rich are both superpowers. So, we're going to have to figure out a way to become a rich billionaire who works at a news station. How do poor idiots like us do that? Glad you asked. While we don't have $1 billion each of us has $1. So the idea is, if 1 billion people put in $1, then we're a billionaire. By ourselves, we're poor. But if enough of us come together, we're rich. Let's consider our next goal being super smart. If we did have 1 billion people, then chances are one of those people would be a specialist in the question we were asking, meaning, when we need to, we could get an informed opinion. If we devise a way through our genius ingenuity to get the right answers from the right people, then it's like having another superpower. If we had a way of getting their correct opinions to the forefront of our attention and could make a good choice, then the billion people now become a sort of collective super intelligence. We may be not as individuals, but as a species, would become a genius billionaire. It would be like having two Elon Musks. So we need a news organization where 1 billion members can gather and form some sort of hive mind. Next up on our road to a more perfect union is a system of cooperation. No point in gathering a team of superheroes, such as ourselves, if we can't get along and agree on what needs to be done. So how the hell are we all going to get along? At the Metropolitan Global, we believe that achieving goals can be unifying, especially if the goal aligns with everyone on the team's common interests. Our goal is to bring 1 billion people together every month to try and solve our problems. Our common interests are that our problems aren't getting solved, and maybe that's because of government corruption. Or maybe we as people are just going about things the wrong way, but if we don't find a viable way of solving our problems soon, it will be too late. The zombies will come, the sun will explode, they'll launch the nukes. Just insert your favorite end of the world scenario here. So it's in everyone's best interests if we have a system to cooperate. The next question then becomes, what is the best system? We need something simple that works. Let's look at the two prevalent systems in society, communism and capitalism, and see what works with each of these approaches. First, communism. The thing about communism is, it sucks. Big time. Communism is everybody gives all their money to the government, and they're supposed to spread it out equally as the people need it. Sounds great in theory, but as we know, pretty much all governments are awful and not to be trusted. However, there were some advantages on a societal level. Mass populations working together can do big things. Think the Pyramid of Giza. Everyone is equal and responsible to do their part for the collective. People are supposed to be taken care of and to profit from their own labor. Communism pretty much thought all rich people were evil and that government was a solution. Capitalism may not have started with the founding fathers. However, their version of it did create a great system of cooperation between common people. Great men, starting with the blank canvas of a country, argued. They argued a lot, but after enough time, they found a consensus, voted and abided by the verdict. It wasn't their shared identities, but their shared values that brought them together with the goal to make a union that wasn't crappy like the others. They did a pretty good job. It was better than communism, but it got derailed. And we think we know why. Early on, when they were deciding on business law and its purpose, there were two ideas floating around. One that businesses owed something to their communities. The other view which prevailed said that businesses existed to make profit to their shareholders, and that was their sole obligation. Capitalism hated the government and thought rich people were the solution. But then the rich people bought the government. Then the rich people became the government. Now it seems we're back at square one. What do both these systems have in common? Well, they both believe in democratic process. They both use voting to decide which tyrant will rule them. Both sides also believe in science, especially if it makes things go boom. So the system should have some process of voting and the scientific method to move things along. Now we must use some system of voting to decide what theories to act on. How do we bring this all together? Well, we think we found a solution. It's called a citizen's jury. This is how it works. A citizen's jury selects a random group of jurors from the populace. They are tasked with coming up with a solution to a problem by being briefed with all pertinent information about the subject. The jurors come to a consensus on what the best solution would be and publish their results in a report used as a guide for local community leaders to follow. Simple enough, right? Our system is a little different. Instead of a selected group, ours is open to everyone who wants to participate. Our members pay $1 a month into a shared fund called the Public Trust. Throughout each month in 2-week voting cycles, our members debate and decide what cause to support or issue to tackle and finishes off the month with the vote on how best to spend the money towards our common goal. Whatever idea garnishes the most votes wins, and we carry out whatever the people want to do with the funds, then share the results with the world. This does a couple of things. First, let's address how we fixed communism. Well, most importantly, you're not giving the government all your money and power. That's a lifesaver right there. But communism was all about everyone being equal and pooling their resources. But instead of you and me pooling all our resources, we're only pitching in $1. But when enough people buy in, we'll all be profiting greatly off our shared labor. $1 a month also makes us equal. Even someone who is very poor could pay $1 a month, and they are just as responsible as anyone else to do their part. As for capitalism, we would like to go back in time to when they were putting business law onto paper and choose to go against the whole only for profit thing. We want to profit, but we also want to benefit society. The problem is people with leverage have vested interests that become exaggerated over time. So the fix is making every active member part owner with no one having the ability to own more than one share, and using profits gained every month to put towards the public trust. We call the second fund the community chest. We think it's time for East and West to kiss and make up. We need to find a way to work together to save our future. But to do that, we'll need some basic rules, things we can all agree upon. In order for us to function properly as a collaborative group, we need some structure. If there were no organization, there would be chaos, and nothing would get done. But too much structure would alienate a lot of people, and we wouldn't want that. The goal of these rules is to create the right environment for the most amount of people to be able to work together to make positive changes for everyone in our community. This is a working list of rules we have put to place towards that end. Rule number 1. Members will join the site and pay $1 a month into the public trust. Rule number 2. Members will participate in the voting process, the first vote occurring by the 15th of every month and the second by the end of the month. The first vote will decide where we will focus our combined funds, and the second vote will decide how we spend our money towards our first vote's objectives. This cycle repeats every month. Rule number 3. Everyone's invited, no exceptions. Rule number 4. Members are encouraged to bring 2 people into our community. If every new member does this within 30 months, we'll be 1 billion strong. Rule number 5. We all must try and get along. If you can't get along, be civil. Rule number 6. The discussion forum is for posting and debating ideas to solve our problems, not for trolling. There are already sites for that. Act like adults. Rule number 7. We are here to solve problems, not people. We must always see the individual as a value in themselves and not merely a means to an end, which means no scapegoats. Rule number 8. We can't do anything illegal, immoral, or just plain not cool. Every action we take must be clearly positive with no murky gray areas. Rule number 9. The Metropolitan Global must be as transparent as reasonable and possible. Rule number 10. All profits after operating expenses are covered will go towards the public trust. These rules are a work in progress. We may add some or edit the old ones, but no company bylaw can violate the spirit of the mission for which we created them in the first place. We are here to help each other. In the spirit of universal friendship, it doesn't matter what the rules say if the rules are crap. So now we have a team, a system, and some rules. Now let's circle back to our headquarters, which is where the website comes in. We live in the modern age, which comes with some perks. We don't need some huge stadium that can accommodate 1 billion people. We can do it online. The website has 5 different sections, each of which serves a specific purpose to our mission. The news page. The first section is our news page. The news page is our primary platform for communicating with our members. It will also function a conduit for informing the outside world of our movements and help disseminate information regarding the citizens' jury and our deliberation and acting on the jury. The news page was designed to combine old-time newspapers with our modern information portals into something that is digestible for everyone. The user wall. Included in the first section is the user wall, a personalized space where each user can express themselves and document pertinent information. This is also where users can stream articles and videos from the web and share them on their walls. The Quick Reference tab on the right gives easy access to a list of World Atlas news sources. The Reference tab can be explored at your discretion. The other great place to find news sources is our second section, or the source page. The source page. The source page is a World Atlas catalog of information from across the globe. Add sources you find interesting on your wall for quick reference. We are in the process of adding more sources, and if you don't see one of your favorites, please reach out and we will add it to the atlas. Don't forget that you can always manually add any video or article source to your wall anytime. To find a source, click on a country, scroll to the source list, and add your sources to your user wall with the pinned button on the right. The discussion forum. The fourth section contains the discussion forum. It is where we will open ideas up to debate, discuss which is best, and determine how to execute it best. The forum consists of two subsections. On the right, you will find a live chat for discussing current events in real time. On the left is an area for posting ideas and responses to those ideas. Before the 15th of the month, we encourage you to post an idea, problem, or organization that could use our help. Each idea is paired with a like button. The more likes an idea gets, the higher it will rank on the voting page. After the first vote, we then open the floor to discussion and deliberations. During this phase, we will determine how to best use the money toward the objective. The vote will take place in our fifth and final section. The vote. You check the news page, created a user page, searched the source list for articles and info, discussed current events with your fellow citizens, and the discussion forum. You like the ideas you want passed, and now it's time to move on to the voting page. Each user gets 2 votes per month, the first by the 15th and the second by the end of the month. Once the votes are tallied, we document and film the fulfillment of the selected idea. That could be picking up trash, feeding the homeless, donating to cancer research, or whatever initiative got the most votes. We have full faith that you will all choose some epic, cool stuff for us to do. Well, folks, that's our plan, to build a shining city on a hill, made up of individuals running a news organization that covers superheroes like you, saving the day. Maybe it will work. We hope it will. We do what we can in life and hope for the best. The important thing is that we're trying. That's all you can ever really ask of someone. The question we'd like to ask is, are you trying? We hope you'll consider trying with us. All the best, the team at the Metropolitan Global.